library. I have some friends that work there. And I went to them, to Alicia and Karen, the nursery people there, and I said, we want a selection of succulents from your collection that we can make martini planters with. I want some Huntington martinis. So that's what these are. This one, and one over there is about 65 different species of succulents just from the Huntington. And then they've been in place about 3 years. These are getting big, they're overgrowing their space. But we're gonna pop them out, and then we'll basically propagate them and spread them and plant some more martinis. But ideally, I want a lot of Huntington martinis in there. As you guys look around, you'll notice some of our big problem spots in the landscape are these corner pieces. So what happens is, it's like, you guys, if you've ever been guilty of this, don't tell me, but it's like it's time to leave, and then the staircase is full, and then when someone says, usually someone who's been enjoying some adult beverages says, you know what, this hillside looks just as good as the stairs. Okay, then they come through, and then we always get these corner pieces stomped out. But we've been doing a better job of trying to keep it full to encourage people to work their way towards the staircase. Sage. We have several hybrid varieties of Cleveland sage. We've got about 20 different species of sage on the property. Cleveland sage have been really productive for us. But the main note here is the Huntington martinis. Watch out for the corners in the landscape. We keep sharp stuff away, but generally we try to herd people to the stairs. Now, we're going to turn around, walk up that staircase. You think California natives in Southern California? You think Theodore Payne Foundation. If you've not been, it's worth a trip. I went to Theodore Payne and I said, please, just give me a selection, all small sizes of California natives that you think are important. I want to put them all in one space and go look and see what it's like to establish a California native garden. California natives are quite popular in the landscape. You guys probably hear and see a bit about it. And then they're just a lot trickier to grow compared to our common ornamental plants. And we basically killed a bunch. That's how we learn. So you guys do the same thing. It's also, so it's good to start small for a couple reasons. One is that they tend to establish better when you start small. The other is you're going to kill some. So a $9 loss feels a lot. It hurts a lot less than a $50 loss, right? So what you have here is like 45 to 50, we have probably about 55. We added 6 more sages up there. Ideally, there's going to be 100 different California natives in one small area. March through August, it's outrageous, right? In September, it's kind of fading out. And it's so in between. And then, what's with the plant labels? Right? What's in a plant label? So, part of getting this place accredited as a botanic garden was going through the Botanic Garden Conservation International. They are the end-all say-all for botanic gardens around the world, right? That's why they're the international. One of the 8 requirements we had to meet was labeling our plants. And I'm a full-time professor of horticulture at Mount SAC. I teach plant typing. Okay? It takes native plants a good 2 to 5 years, like probably 3 to 5, until you start to see their personality and recognize like their blooms and when they're about to bloom and see their leaf structure a little more effectively. But when you're looking at a plant label, you guys remember the old science class? Kingdom, phylum, class, order, family, genus, specific epithet, right? Genus plus specific epithet is the species name. So Eriogonum is our genus, and this is Californicum, it's our species name, and the common name's in capital letters, and the plant family is down here. So that's what you're looking at. Now, that's why knowing these names are really helpful. Like one of the benefits of going to Botanic Garden is you got labels. The idea is that if you see something, oh, I like that, take a picture, there it is. And if you take that into your nursery, that person on site doesn't know, they'll call someone, they'll know. And that's how, this is plant language right here. If you want to speak plants, this is part of it. There's a couple other cool plants in that family we installed in the center field. Is the musa, it's a banana tree, and then the other one's a traveler's palm that have the same structure. Anyways, there's a lot of those. I'm trying to blend some bananas in with them so we can eat it. Okay, so we've seeded California poppy multiple times in the stadium. There's a couple locations. If you're sitting like in top deck behind home plate, you're looking out into the hillsides. There's a couple locations that we seeded heavily with poppy. We're trying to fight off a lot of the native weedy grasses in there, and this year we got a really big head start on them. But if it works like it looks like it's working, you're gonna see there should be some massive blotches of orange poppy as you look out from center field. It should be really fun. Okay, yeah. This is a Cleveland sage. So the Cleveland sage is a native, and there's many hybrids of that have been the Cleveland, the purple sage have been mixed. This is Poso Blue. We have a kind of a sage. Well, I don't want to say careful with my language here. We have.
Just say it, roll, don't.
We have just with the cameras roll. Yeah, good. That worked well for me. So we have many different sages species together that will be doing the reproductive thing at the same time. Okay.
So they share.
So they share. But if we let this go long enough, we never know what we'll get in terms of cross pollination. Then they reseed themselves, and it's like, hey, you let that go for 10 years with 10 different species flowering together, and then you never know, right?
It's
okay.
the Dodger Stadium species.
It just might be. It just might be. This is a fun one. We have some plants for you guys at the end of this, this is a Salvia Waverly, and this does winter color. So very few sages are blooming during the winter, but we plant these from 2-inch plugs. This, like, all this stuff came from plants this big for us. This is how they all started. Very, very small. The Waverly's nice. There's different varieties here, but this has been great to us. You see lots of agaves. Obviously, this plant here, this is totally naked, is our Euphorbia catenifolia. And then I get this question all the time about the orange succulents you guys see everywhere. It's the orange fire sticks. So aren't they dangerous? And it's like, well, yeah, you could also impale yourself on an agave. Like you can Mortal Kombat something on some of these plants, right? That's all over Southern California. But euphorbias are interesting in the fact that all euphorbias, heads up here, have a little bit of that little white sap in it. So ready? I'm gonna drop out of it. That right there, right? That white sap. And so, in general, where this becomes a problem is if you have things, unknown substances, right? Pretty aggressive allergic reaction. Everything in the euphorbia family has that. What's nice about the euphorbia families? Gophers also don't like euphorbias. And then everything you see here in Top Deck, we've not put any, and no fertilizer, no pesticides, nothing for over 3 years. Wow. So like we eat off this stuff, literally. Like we'll plant chilies. We won't tell you guys where they're at. Yeah, during All Star, we put a lot of corn and sunflower out, harvested a bunch of that. That was really, really fun. Built in. Let's take a look. So we have about 27 different species of agave on the property. One is agave tequila Island, and one in particular is one you make tequila with. And we have an island just of those.
Oh, nice.
And we grew them all at the same time. We're growing them like a little, we call them tequila islands in the parking lot. Yeah. Right. Okay, stop for a second. All right, this planter in the center of the parking lot was a water fountain. This was a giant water feature. And then Pete was here back in the day when they said, Pete, we need you to make it a planter. The people keep getting drunk and splashing around. And Pete's like, well, great. So if you take a soil probe and go to the planter, you go about 8 inches, dunk, and it's concrete. Because it's not meant to be a planter, it's a water fountain, right? It's 2 shallow layer water fountains on top of each other with small drain holes. A lot of what the Adventure success is like, so the authors who get published the most are also the most prolific writers. The people who try the most plant species in a given area will finally find one that works better than the other ones in that area. So I found these plants that worked. So the fire sticks, the white lantana ground cover, those agaves that you see, that's agave americana. That's the most common agave you see in Southern California, probably this one here. This is not the one you make tequila with, okay? So agaves wait 1 time to do sexual reproduction, and when they do, they go big, okay? So all the energy from the outer leaves tends to get shuttled into the center stalk. It takes about 2 months to get the stalk up. It takes 2 to 3 months to flower. And during that time, it's just a pollinator's heaven. So you have bees and hummingbirds daily just swarming it. It's a fun sight. Then they bloom in succession. So it blooms low, medium, and then top, right? So it really takes a long time. Now they're just hanging out. Now it's just kind of like some weird abstract art sitting in the center of the parking lot. And you see we have some ropes that are tied to the center of the palm there. So that will give vegetative production during its lifetime. Pups will come out, then you can just hack those off with a shovel and replant those, which is a lot of what we've done throughout the stadium. And agaves tend to bloom around the same time. When you have them all in the same age and the same planting, it's interesting to start going. If you enter through gate A or exit through gate A, another one of the islands that we cut out was asphalt. We cut it out. It's Agave Island, and it's just 22 species of agave lined up from low to medium to large. All right, and then what you have, we have like 15 or 12 of each species all lined up side by side. And when one goes, 3 or 4 tend to go right by it, right? And that's it. Monocarpic, flower once, that's a wrap. Right? Yep, whereas aloes keep flowering every year, right? For Creas, the closely related genus, do the same thing. So that for Crea over there, the yellow one is flowering. Flower stalk is shooting up. That one will go to bulbils on the stem. Some do seeds on the stem, some do bulbils, which are mini agaves on the stem. And they fall off and they root, and that's your vegetative propagal there. Very interesting. Okay. This is a fun one. So there are a handful of ground cover sages. This is a Salvia spathica. It's one of our California natives, sticky to the touch. But you can see this is actually, a lot of our sages are blooming early this year. The rain, it bums me a little bit because our bloom is typically heavy with the first couple homestands. So it's really a treat. And then they tend to be a little more aromatic when they're blooming. So like last year we had people calling us to the front office like it smelled wonderful when we left the game last year. You know? Usually it smells like beer. And like, it's crazy. So it's really, really nice. And I'm like, I hope it doesn't go too early. But solid spathic is fun. Spreads by the roots. So this was 3 1-gallons initially, right? And it's just little. These are all little runners that came up from the central stem there. Bee's Bliss is behind you by the triangle palm by the guys. Take a look at that one real quick. But if you're looking to cover hillsides, you have space to grow. Like that's definitely a winner. This is Bee's Bliss here. Like this will bloom. This will bloom at the same time the rest of the stages. It's really tough next to the water. This got stepped on. This will have to cut out, snip out. But it's another good sage ground cover. It's another good California native ground cover. We have a couple hybridized versions of it over there as well, in other spots that are more successful in the stadium. But they're generally underutilized. If you guys hit California Botanic Garden off the 10 and Indian Hill, right? That's our largest collection of California natives in SoCal. And if you're not like into native plants, it's like, so. But if you hit it in the spring, there are so many blooms in such exquisite form in one place, it's hard to wrap your head around. Then once a year, they collect flowers from them and they do a bloom. They take blooms, it's just like 200 different blooms laid out in one spot from all the much different species on there. It's really, really incredible. But you'll see stands of this, like this is a so-so form when it's happy. It's a little darker green, it's more uniform, and it blooms for like 6 to 8 weeks. Really incredible. Really incredible stands. Bee's Bliss.
Other than
you
those
need
freaky people.
You need wildlife, yeah. Besides the people are the most interesting form of wildlife. Absolutely. Now, for us, it's probably the falcons and the coyotes. The coyotes have always been present, but what we saw was when we didn't have games for a year, a lot of the coyotes that stayed on the exterior hillsides came to the interior hillsides. Like, hey, okay, here's the problem. They found out there was water in our drip tubes. Yeah, then they told the squirrels. Okay, then they told everything else. So we've actually had to transition. So you see the spray heads here. So we canceled some of the drip tube and had to go to these above ground spray heads. These are MP rotators. We'll show you how these run, but they're basically like water efficient spray head nozzles. The low volume, how are we saving water in the landscape? So this here, so if you guys remember the drought that was like 2010 through 2016, right, was atrocious, it was really bad. And then if you notice, like all the young Chazes who had pickup trucks and lawnmowers in the back, all of a sudden had these rolls of drip tube in the back. And everybody's transitioned their landscape. They were paying people to come in and rip out your lawn for drought tolerant plant material, right? It was a good start, right? It was a good way to just get people transitioned and accustomed to a different type of irrigation. People are used to seeing the spray heads. They want to see this inline drip tubing here. Like, so you guys would buy this like 100-foot roll at the store. We buy these in 500-foot rolls, a couple thousand feet at a time. So they come like this, in big rolls, and then we stretch them out. All right, and this is irrigation Legos. All right, and then you buy these little Lego connectors to stick them together. So you have all these complicated parts, like here's a T. When you need a T, the hardest part is just keeping them organized. This is a coupling. Oh my gosh, you stick 2 pieces together. Okay, this is it. You fit them over. Okay, so now the key is like this isn't glued together, it's not screwed together, right? So what do you need to do? You need to make sure that your pressure is being managed on your valve appropriately. So normally you guys have an anti-siphon valve, which looks like this thing over here. Right? And this is meant to handle like 50 to 60 psi, and your sprinklers pop up and spray out. But you need something that's going to manage nose, not blow this part. So you need to regulate that psi down to about 40. So you can go to the irrigation store and say, hey, I need like a low volume of drip valve, okay? And then they'll say, hey, what's a drip valve got on it that a regular one doesn't? So it usually has a little lower flow in terms of gallons per minute that I can push out of here, but it also has a pressure regulator and a filter on it, okay? So you can buy, there's different ways to buy these in, but it's also a complicated object. It's got a screen in it. Oh my God. And it filters out the tiny particles so they don't clog up all the small holes, right? Very, very simple, right? Filter screen, pressure regulator comes in one, and handily it tells you what it's supposed to be. 40 PSI. Very simple. That's generally where you want your drip irrigation, right? So there are different versions of this. Okay, so here's a fancier one. That's like $7 to $12. This is gonna be like 10 to 20 depending on how you buy it. But here's a little fancier screen. That's it. We have a very old irrigation system, right? This is old galvanized pipe from the 60s, all right? We clean ours out about twice a year. It's not that bad. Just water, toothbrush, bang it out, tap, 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 voila, stick it back in. But that's it. Very, very simple. This is generally what gets added in to manage your pressure from a typical spray head to a drip setup, okay? All right, so let's look at this drip run real quick. So this is an indicator. Which will pop up when the pressure loads up to about 30 psi. This will pop up so your drip irrigation is running. It's like, well, why do you need an indicator? Because it's hard to tell when your irrigation is running when it's like this. Usually it's covered in mulch, in plants and you don't see it, right? So an indicator should generally be somewhere where you walk by on a regular basis, or like where you're doing your morning routine, like, oh yeah, it's on. Okay, what's also good to know is like if you leave to work, it should be off. But if it's still on, I mean your valve's stuck on and your drip's gonna be running until you get home and manually shut off your valve. So indicators are really valuable. When it comes to managing your irrigation, there's a few different ways of going about it, right? Irrigation management is really like soil management. So this is a moisture meter, right? And you can put this in your soil. Now, this is like 10 to 12 bucks on Amazon. This is like, I like you, but like we're just doing a coffee date. I don't want to invest too much into this, all right? I need a quick out if we go out. Get the hell out of here, all right? It's 10 to 12 bucks. The key is don't leave this in your soil. You don't leave it in. You stick it in temporarily. Now, this goes in the soil, you're gonna figure out how moist you are in the top 2 inches. But if you go in another 2, you'll realize it'll get moister and typically moister. So your meter, so if you're gonna use this, try a little bit, and then 3 inches in, then 4, and you'll see what's happening. What's happening on the top of the soil is never represented what's happening below where your roots are at. Never. It's a very deceptive little game, okay? This is like, we're gonna go out and I'm gonna pay for dinner. This is right here, just one day. All right, I'm gonna make a good effort to do this the right way. All right, I'm gonna be honest about this whole thing. All right, so you're gonna probe the soil with this. This just takes a little bit of the soil profile. You scoop your mulch out of the way. This looks bone dry on top, right? Okay, you need to get down to the soil before you use it, and you punch it into the soil. And you pull it up and you get a little sample. Okay, and then you would squeeze it to see generally how moist it is, right? Now we'll take a couple more samples, but this is about 25 bucks on Amazon. Now this is cool if like you're just checking your pots, your planters, your small stuff. All right, if this is like this here, this is we're in a relationship. If holidays are up, it's expected we need to be spending a holiday together. We need to make arrangements. All right, you've met some family at this point, right? This is getting real. This is like 125 bucks, okay? And there's a few different versions of these, but the nicer versions will have a tip that you can unscrew and screw back and buy another one, a replacement tip, so you don't have to replace the whole probe. They'll come apart in pieces so they can fit in a small area. So if you were to call like a plant pathologist out, or like a Chaz, someone who has like lots of pieces of paper on the wall that says he knows what he's doing, okay, I would have one of these, I do, and then I would come out and I would charge you to probe your soil and tell you, yeah, you're watering too damn much. You and 90% of the calls to soil scientists and plant pathologists to come out and visit, you're watering too much. That's generally the problem, almost every time. And most pathogens we get in Southern California are due to overwatering as well, all right? Okay, so this is great, because so first of all, that's nice. But like that's good for a planter bed or a small pot. But if you have a tree or a shrub, you would want something that goes a little further into the soil. So you would do the same thing. Then you just work right over the top, twist, pull. Okay. Oh hey. Now look. Now you see what's going on 8 inches into the soil. This is money. Okay. This is looking inside the soil's soul. They're hiding nothing from you at this point. Okay. This is a very revealing test here. In general, you would take this and now notice that first sample looked kind of wet. It crumpled up. Okay, this one crumples up less, it's drying up in the hand. Now, if you have too much water, your hand's gonna be moist. That's overwatering, or you've just rained, that's too much. This is about right, it clumps up, but it's also a sandy soil. It's got some rocks in it, but I can't form a ribbon with it. It all breaks off really easily. Let's see what else we got here. I have a chunk of something black and random in there, some organic material. All right, that's about right. Stays into a ball. I can see where my fingers pressed into it, it holds together. That's a happy place to be for a plant, okay? If I squeeze it and it doesn't make any shape at all, it just kind of crumbles in my hand, too little water, okay? Now, how the hell would you know that? You must probe hard and you must probe frequently. That's the only way. You have to probe after you water, 1 day after you water, 2 days after you water, to 6 to 8 inches, not just the top. And then you'll know if I leave my sprinklers on for 30 minutes in the yard, this is the effect. And I have 7 days till I need to water again. Or 2, depending, you might be establishing something in sandy soil, right? But this is how you do it. You can do all the meters and all the crap you want. Like the guys on the field, they have a very expensive multi-$1,000 soil sensor thing, right? And it tells them, it does volumetric water readings in the soil. I'm like, that's fine, but they need to go out and touch it. This is what you have to do. You have to touch it, you have to know your soil. You'll know if you're getting married, you might as well do it right, all right? This is it. So this is an auger, all right? So where that's like 150, this is several hundred, right? And this is generally, we won't use this unless we really need to get like around a tree, all right? That needs to go through some roots, so these are good at cutting. So this would go into the soil, twist, agaves. You're not hiding anything from each other now. It's all out in the open. You share a restroom. It's real. It's getting real here, okay?
It's like climbing stairs.
Yeah, right. Exactly. Okay. So then you really see what's going on, all right? And if you take your time and work through it, well, what we'll find sometimes is when we dig through something in the parking lot is like there may be like a layer of asphalt. Like they move, how many times they moved a tree, and we find there's just like a 4-inch layer of asphalt 2 feet deep, and for some reason the water's pulling up, right? Yeah, we've seen it a bunch of times. Layering, you might have had old construction rubble that was dumped somewhere, and it doesn't have to be large like this. This could be an old patio. Okay, someone's down with something, jackhammered it, and there's rocks hanging out below the ground, but you wouldn't know, right? Now again, this is like something you need to be doing on a regular basis. You can make use of it, but like if you are into it, you know, this is generally where you want to be. Okay, this is generally where you want to be. This is a good place to be. All right. Okay, soil auger, soil probe, soft probe, dipping your toes in the water. Okay, very light. All right. That's how you go about that. This is it. This is like, there's no green thumb. It's just, are you overwatering, underwatering? That's generally it. Even California natives, tougher ones that grow in the desert climates, they still need to be babied the first couple years. This is a problem where you have established natives and you're adding new natives in that need more water. Okay, you don't want to run the whole system. In that case, you need to spot water and just be very careful. It's a feeler process. Okay.
I got a question.
Yeah, talk to me.
Clay soil.
Uh-huh.
How do you deal with that?
Move. You have to move. Organic matter additions. So mulching, and then just very careful with your water. So what's tricky about clay is that, so if you were to conceptualize this, okay, this is an age thing, but do you guys, Target, Walmart, you remember the large cage used to have all the bouncy balls in it? Okay, then kids would come and kick them, and pop them up over the top, right? I may have done a lot of that. That's like, if you imagine pouring a 5-gallon bucket of water over the top of that, water would just flush down to the floor, right? Okay, let's take all those bouncy balls out. Imagine backfilling it with golf balls. Now, you pour the 5-gallon bucket of water over the top, much slower to go, right? Okay. Take something even smaller. Take a BB from a BB gun, dump it in the top. Dump water over the top. It's gonna take forever for water to make its way through all this BB so it hits the floor, right? That's like clay soil. So your water's just moving really slow, and the problem with that is it hangs out at the top for a long time before it starts to work its way through. Now, but the way to break that up is generally through roots working their way through the soil, roots dying off, going through the annual cycle, and organic matter generally creates better structure between all the small BBs, so the water flows through a little more frequently. You know, it's so you're in a bad spot. It's really tricky. If you have a small planter, it might be worth digging out 6 inches and then putting new soil in the top. If it's the nature of your landscape as a whole, you need to be very careful with your water management. Yeah. Okay. Well, good. We wish you luck. Yeah, we have some clay spots. You need it.
Maybe
Like this martini at the base has got 3 downspouts coming out of it, right? So they used to, when they built them in, they just had 1 1/2-inch drain. That's it. That's what was draining that thing. And then they wanted to do petunias, impatiens, pansies. So Pete and Freddie, they planted thousands of flats of flowers in these things. And then you're planting flowers into a shallow rooting area with this much drainage. And then they're manually watering them. On top of that.
Wow.
Yeah, so you'll notice here, if you look at the back end of some of these, you'll see this irrigation. There's a PVC tube coming up that fits in there. That's got so we tapped into the existing irrigation lines, added in a filter pressure regulator, and then put mini drip tube in these. So these are getting automatic irrigation now. Those are some dudleyas that the crows are having a good time with. Some mangaves up there. This is another mangave species in this one. Echeverias, dudleyas. Echeverias. On the ground here, this is our PCH iris. In the spring, this PCH iris will give us a bunch of iris blooms, but it's our California native iris. Our juqueras are doing pretty good for us. And this is a fun agave here. This one is an agave bracteosa. But the first time I saw this was in South France on a cliff wall at a botanic garden at the Jardin Exotique. It wasn't that long ago either. I was like, oh my god, this place is stunning. Let me just see one. But these ones are propagating pretty quickly. You can see all the new pups that are coming out. But it's a soft, elegant agave. It doesn't do, it's not hard on the hands. It's easy to manage. And these are all little pups that are coming out. But it's a fun one. Those are Echeverias here. But there's a bunch of martinis here. Again, this is 10-foot diameter. That's a 6-foot diameter. Right here is a traveler's palm. So it looks like a giant bird of paradise, but it's got the traveler's palm label at the bottom. This is gonna go straight up and keep that format. It's hard to describe the structure, but it's to do like a pole straight up, and then it's just gonna fan out in one direction. So it's gonna be really fun. We're trying to blend them in with the giant bird of paradise. They like a little more tropical climate. We transplanted them, beat the hell out of them. I had a friend bring them up from Mexico, and they're stressing a little bit, but we think they're gonna take. They're on the way up. These palm trees have creeping fig and ivy going up from the top. Yeah, so that was an O'Malley thing. O'Malley liked that. He wanted Pete to keep doing that. And it looks cool until you have to prune it. Okay, so the guys are on top of doing the palm trees, all the pruning. They're in there. Someone's going to operate, and someone has a pruner and head trimming this whole thing. Multiple. And then everything drops down, then you got to traffic it and pick it up. Okay? So do that for those.
Here at Dodger Fan Fest, we are pumped up to be here.
This yucca here. I'm going to point this one yucca out. We got several species of yucca. But this is Yucca Jewel, and it's a hybrid of the elephant teepees, the one with the really big base that grows big, not the Joshua tree one. That's a brevifolia. This is a Yucca Jewel. We buy them in this big. They sit in those pots for 3 years, and they make their way out into the landscape when they get too big for the pot. So now we have this little nursery cycle going on. Those are Hercules aloes. We bought those like yay big 5 years ago or so, and now like if you bought those in that size, one of the strategies that we had this been really fun. So this big aloe you see here, this giant aloe here, this giant aloe here, these guys, these are also from planters we bought for like $25 at some point in time, right? And foxtail agaves. Anyways, these ones are fun. The heads get so big so quick that we have to brace them because they'll want to fall over. It's a fun one. Okay. And like they end up using stickers on them, bro.
Yeah, right.
And I was like, what are you guys doing? Really? And I said, that's enough. So I went to so I had some friends at Huntington, and I was like, Paul's the guy who was doing all the signs at the Huntington. I was like, Paul, please, will you do me a favor? So all these blue signs you see around the stadium are full, like our full first set was, and all the ones after that are all from the Huntington Library. From
Wow, that's awesome.
Yeah. It feels cool to be connected to
Yeah,
like,
that's
the Mecca.
really cool.
You know what I mean? It's pretty sweet. Okay.
Is that the hummingbird sage?
This is this is scarlet sage, lavender. Okay, who's okay? This is I don't want this. Who's into native plants? Who are native plant nerds here? A handful. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Okay, who are native plant people? Are going home with a white sage. Okay, that's a Salvia apiana.
Thank you.
All right, then we got a few more here.
Right there. So,
All right. So, you guys plant that, just water once a week, maybe even less right now. If we rain again, back off it for a couple weeks. Tremendous spring bloom. If you guys don't have one of those, yeah, it should be great. These are lavenders, sweet lavenders. This is scarlet sage. All right, so you guys remember the Salvia Waverly at Top Deck? Tall, lanky flowers. This is gonna do something very similar in structure, easy to manage, very little water. And this is a mealy cup sage. This is a blue flower, all right? But a lot of the stuff you see, like 80% of the stuff you see, it started like this from us. This is how we did it. Just a little bit at a time. It's just a little bit at a time, spread out, and just kind of let them fight for their space. And that's from cuttings. So we want you guys to have one of these on your way out. So look, we're gonna here's what I'm gonna do. Who wants a lavender? Lavender? Thanks. Pass lavender back to a lavender person. Lavender people? There's more. Sages, lavender. Pass them back to a lavender person. Lavender lover? Yes? Anybody else? Lavender? Okay.
Once you smell it, huh?
All right, scarlet sage. Wait. Mealy cup here?
One lavender.
Scarlet sage. Hey, wait, don't take that. That's not gonna live. You take it. Scarlet sage. Okay. Scarlet. Pass it back next time. Okay. Okay, and then the mealy cup, the one that's gonna get blue. Blue. Pass it back to the blue. Yep. So take him out of the pot, put him in something bigger, water him, give him a little space. About 2 by 2, 3 by 3, something like that. Same with the lavender once we. Yeah, especially right now. Yep. Keep an eye on it, but yeah, should be fine. Hey, We really appreciate you guys. Thank you. Thank you so much.
This is awesome.
Hey, so look, we have a pretty lively Instagram page. It's my educational Instagram page. So one of the requirements from the Botanic Garden Conservation International is continuing public education, right? So tours is one way of doing that. The Instagram page is another. So so you'll see like us here doing stuff, me and the guys hitting museums, local art shows, other artists, and then plants flowering. I'll talk about it. I'll put a video up about it. Talk about do's and don'ts, maybe some pruning. But P-R-O-F-E, Profe. And then my last name, P-E-R-E-A, Profe Perea. P-R-O-F-E, and then P-E-R-E-A.
And we're scheduled pretty soon. Those will be up on the MLB Tour website. We also, of course, have the option to arrange private tours.
Appreciate everybody. Have a great day.
I'll give you the root